Organize this talk, especially for parents as well as educators who can go ahead and share with children what are the different things and how food and nutrition can actually help build their immunity and help them see through this difficult times. Educators and children become our prime audience whose health concerns us. Coming to Dr. Zubeda Tumbi, he is the founder director of Health Watch Nutrition Clinic with over 30 years of experience in the segment. She specializes in preventive nutrition, weight management, nutrition counseling, and corporate nutrition. She is a gold medalist, and her PhD work was awarded special grant from IDRC Canada and Tata Chemicals. And with that, I welcome everybody once again and hand over the platform to you, Doctor.
Misha and Kripa for organizing this webinar. And good evening to all my friends, my teachers, my doctor friends, I would say my group of people who come to me at Health Watch Nutrition Clinic. I indeed feel overwhelmed that whenever I come across on any social platform, I get this kind of warm welcome from all of you all. Thank you so much. I feel that in today's times, we all need to worry about how much we can improve our nutritional status, that is the foods we choose to eat, the lifestyle that we are leading, and whether we can, overcome the stress that this pandemic has created. We need to really look at what we have done in the last 5 months ever since the stress began. We were all unsure, we were all new to this new infection. Yeah? So I realized that if we start looking at basic things which are in our own hands, which we can say, which we can organize, this pandemic, this being at home phase can be used by all of us to better our today and of course better our tomorrow as well. So with that, I would say nutrition and immunity go hand in hand. One can never make a claim that if I eat something, I'm going to be immune or I won't get the infection or I'm going to fight the infection. You have to eat healthy every meal, every bite that you eat, and then over a period of say weeks or say few months, you will be able to better your nutritional status. Better nutritional status will give you that empowerment to fight any infection because you will have enough of your own warriors, your WBCs, or your beautiful immunoglobulins which are there in your body. So if you eat well, you will have good assimilation, good absorption, and you will have a good immunocompetence. But if you are say weak from within, then you have this whole dance which the microbes play around you all day, all night, anywhere you go, they are all around you. But if you are strong, then you can keep those infections at bay. So the pandemic is definitely a public health emergency of international concern. In the absence of specific, preventive and some therapeutic medicine that we can give to ourselves, to our children, because we fear this rapid transmission rate. And that is why scientifically it was recommended that all of us would stay homebound, reduce social interaction, keep social distancing, wear the mask. So when this was implemented in the last say 4 to 5 months, a lot of studies have come forward which are talking about what is the potential impact on the behavior and the clinical repercussions of this kind of being at home, being restricted. Yeah, so we've been restricted. We are not able to move around. We're not able to walk. Now we have to, at the same time, while we are minding this pandemic, the do's and don'ts, we have to keep in mind that being physically inactive is also another pandemic which has been being looked at in the last 5 years. And now they say that in the last 5 months, we have enhanced the impact of us all being so physically inactive. See, within a week, there were studies which have seen that even if you are inactive for a week, it depresses you, it reduces your happy moods. It also reduces your muscle power. There have been studies which talk about, that your muscles are being atrophied, they're becoming weak, they're not able to carry weights. So this kind of immobilization or being at home. Now see, being at home, we often wonder, how do I spend my day? So most of us are spending a lot of time with the media, say being your mobile, your television, your computers. So it is for the children today, it is studying on the computer, on the mobile, or on your notepads. Then recreation also is okay, you're not going out, you're going to be home, you're restricting movement. So you are giving the child too much of screen time. Now all these have shown to have a lot of impact on the child's, you can say, mental state, agility, activity, alertness. There are also some studies we are talking about children having weaker muscles, weaker immunity, weaker, lung muscles. They are having difficulties of breathing. They are not able to play around. So we need to worry about a lot more things while we are trying to understand what the pandemic means to us, what we are supposed to do. Now, this pandemic, this particular viral impact is a disease which affects your upper respiratory tract, your lungs, basically your throat. Most of the time you hear that, okay, I have a sore throat, my throat hurts, okay, my nose hurts, I'm not able to breathe well. So then there is slight fever, then the person has reduced appetite. What we could do is, if we can make ourselves strong by virtue of good nutrition, we can implement certain activities which I'll discuss in the lecture, how we can improve our lung capacity, so that even if there's an infection, we are going to be able to rise above it. We're not going to fall prey to it. So because of the lockdown, now there are various reasons all over the world. Studies have shown that there is nutrition insecurity. There is a lot of micronutrients, you can say deficiency. We are not able to meet up with our requirements for proteins, micronutrients, and the reasons why they say, we are consuming a lot of processed foods. Processed foods are rich in calories because they have higher content of fat, sugar. This is because they have to, and then they add some chemicals because they want to keep the processed packaged foods for longer times on the shelf. So people feel that because they have limited access to good food, we're not able to buy fresh food. We're running out of staple foods. Or we don't know how to cook. A lot of youngsters were, they couldn't go. They reach out to good, say, food outlets, so they don't have their workers coming on to cook food for them. A lot of young families where we depend on the cook, so there are no people coming to cook our food. So lack of cooking abilities. Then more and more sedentary lifestyle. Then change in the food purchasing power has led to a difference in the eating behaviors. So we have started eating a lot of easy to procure foods, which are fast foods, say breads, biscuits, or say a lot of noodles. Then, because we are all at home and we feel that happy foods are baked foods, a lot of cake baking is happening, a lot of sweets are happening. So we need to have a reality check. How long if we continue being physically inactive, being at home, what it can do to us. So there are studies talking about the impact on the cardiac muscles, on vasoconstrictions. There is a lot of endothelial damage, there is a lot of oxidative impact, and this is not only affecting the adults, the elderly and the children are most impacted. Let us see how. So because a lot of the young parents, I believe I'm addressing parents of school-going children. So most of us are working, both the father and the mother, and we don't have a cook or a help who was coming early to make foods for us. So then meaning 2019, or say till the start of 2020, because we all had children going to school, we all were reporting to offices, we probably had more regular sleep wake hours, or more regular in our food intake, or we were sleeping on time. And then we had these social interactions, friends coming together. So we were all in happier, healthier times. This is what is the study-based data talking about. And I have seen in my own practice, when I see patients online or offline, I see that now people are not keeping to timings of sleep and wake. They are active, or they are working, or they are on the Netflix enjoying their recreation till later. So the kids also are awake. So because you are awake, you want to eat. So then what happens? Late night binging is a lot of biscuits, wafers, chocolate cakes, which can be bought and kept, and which also is said to be happy food. So then all these colas, all these chips, then late night eating has completely disturbed our circadian rhythm, the rhythm which nature has given us, to maintain our health in good state. Now children, since our focus is children today, I thought that I would talk about the impact of bad food choices poor, say, lifestyle, this disturbance of the sleep wake, then the choice of good foods, the increased intake of fast foods, it is impacting growth. Now, for growth, we look at gain in height, we look at the gain in ideal body weight. So we might fear that we will have a lot of children who might be shorter because of lack of adequate protein intake. They would be either underweight because they are not happy kids who are missing school and friends. Children can be overweight. Just yesterday, I had a child come over where the mother complained that in the last 4 months, the child has gained 5 kilos of weight, age 13. And then I went back into his food recall. I saw that the child can easily, eat 20 biscuits and 10 to 12 vada pavs at one go. Because the elders in the house, everybody feels, oh, the poor child, he can't go anywhere. Can be happy eating these foods. So we as parents, have to have a check as to what are feeding our kids, what is the nutrition density in the foods. Do we need to have some portion control or timing control? Because apart from height weight concerns, we also have anemia. Now, anemia, lack of hemoglobin, or the ability of the body to make enough red blood cells has been a problem for Indians all the time, all age groups. Even today, we have 70% of children and women suffering from iron deficiency anemia. Then the choice of foods up to date, recent times, also there's an increase in, poor dental health. Then I also hear of children being constipated, having acidity. The youngsters who are approaching their teens or in the teens, the early adolescents, have acne, pigmentation. Pigmentation here, I would say, because a lot of us have what is called as insulin resistance. This is because we have this dormant diabetic lineage. Yeah, so a lot of insulin resistance means wasting of insulin. Even this darkness around the neck. If you see your kids showing dark, bands around the neck or on the underarms, then you should be concerned that yeah, the child is showing signs of adiposity or diabesity. That means that he would be at risk of diabetes or higher cholesterol because of this darkness. Could also check for the belly becoming a bigger size, which we call as visceral obesity. And a lot of kids, 12, 13, 14-year-old are reporting with hair loss. Then I also have this last 2 months when patients began coming back, talking about the children becoming picky eaters. Now they're making demands. I won't eat this, I won't eat that. So this could be an attention-seeking behavior, it could be stress-induced behavior. So you have these thin kids. Okay, then look at the specs. We have a lot of kids now coming in with vision problems because so much of exposure to screen time. Then we have the obese kid with the bigger bellies. We have the mood swings. We have the change in eating habits. We're seeing this increased, want to have colas, those energy drinks, sugary drinks. Yeah. Today, parents are talking about, okay, shall we reduce milk intake? I would say give the child sugar drinks, junk food. Don't curb milk intake. Now, we should understand, we should look at what are we eating? What's this junk food doing to us? What is the long-term impact? What is the short-term impact? And how much of this kind of, loading our body with such kind of processed foods, how long will the body sustain the impact? The impact definitely is that we are loading our systems with a lot of saturated fats, trans fats, sugars, because the processed foods, if the child has, say 2 oranges versus a packaged orange juice, you're giving the child a lot of sugar, color. If the child has fruits, he will have a lot of fiber, antioxidants, apart from vitamin C, vitamin A. So we need to look at what are we doing. Then also these processed packaged foods, which make our, kids into comfort eaters, comfort food eaters.
Ma'am, your voice is not coming.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Am I audible again? Hello?
Yes,
Am
ma'am.
I audible again? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
We need to be aware about inadequate micronutrient intake. This is the hidden hunger. Hidden hunger means this: we are lacking on iron, iodine, calcium, vitamin D. These minerals, these vitamins are required in very small amounts. But because of our craze for looking at these polished processed foods. We are probably not able to get enough from the foods we are eating.
We can't see you
So
properly,
we need
madam.
to eat right. Can you see the slideshow?
Yes, ma'am.
We can see that, but we cannot see
Yeah,
your
so you
face,
focus,
Zubeda.
Okay, I will be visible to you once the talk is over. You focus on what's being delivered to you. I think that's important, right? We
Okay,
need
thank
to now
you.
look at eating right, bite by bite. So we need to look at what's available locally, what is seasonal, what is easily accessible. We need to consume a lot of unprocessed, wholesome cereals, your whole legumes. We need to cut on the fat, the sugar. We need to have a whole colorful basket of fruits, vegetables. We need to look at how we can best combine these foods, how to best eat them when. We look at these things. So we look at the Indian food plate, which was designed by the National Institute of Nutrition, which comes under the Indian Council of Medical Research. Here again, we are saying that let half your plate be full of vegetables and fruits. Let your pulses also be soaked, spotted with the skin. Let your cereals, millets be whole. Use the unsteeped whole wheat flour atta. Look at your jawar ka atta, bajre ka atta, nachni ka atta. Look at the whole corn. We need to look at the healthy plate for the child. See, look at the importance of water as well. Most of the times I find even kids don't consume enough water. Make half the plate, like 1/4 would be vegetables, 1/4 fruits, 1/4 would be your unpolished cereals, say your chapatis, your breads, your rotis, your bhakris, the dosas, the idlis, the uttappams, and 1/4 could be your proteins. Proteins could be your first class proteins, could be your combined vegetable proteins. So we need to know what I am putting on my plate. I would say essentially you should give the child or the whole family should look at 3 proper complete meals. Today what we are doing is we are replacing this meal with fast food. We are looking at pani puri, we are looking at sandwiches, we are looking at something like a vada pav. So if we understand what a plate should contain for us to deliver, see 3 meals, we say 1/3 of your recommended dietary allowance of vitamins, minerals, proteins, essential fats should come from breakfast, 1/3 from lunch, 1/3 from dinner, and then you can have 2 short breaks of fruits and nuts. So if we go like this, and every plate that you eat, if you can look at the child, because the child is going to require enough nutrition to sustain the activities and this optimizes growth. So optimizes physical growth, optimizes mental growth. So we need to give the child at least 1 or 2 of these wholesome carbohydrates. Like you can look at your wheat ki roti, convert the roti into a paratha, into a thepla, make a ragi roti, ragi dosa, make a bajra bhakri, make a jawar ka motia. You can look at whole moong matki chavli. You look at dals, even if the dals, if it becomes like a sambar dal where you add some vegetables, when you are serving curds, make the curd say into a raita, introduce some vegetables, fruits in the curd. So the child will have the advantage of the first class protein of milk, as also milk gives the child a lot of riboflavin, vitamin A, vitamin D, and calcium. So whenever you are now, thinking or pre-planning your meal, you should look at कि कल का नाश्ता मेरा कैसा होगा. Say if I'm looking at a thepla, say gajar ka paratha, I would serve that with say dahi or say with a fruit shake. So if it is dahi, I can have a fruit like say a banana, and then I can have a small tilka laddu. So what am I doing? I'm actually bringing in my cereal, which is my paratha or thepla. The protein comes from say curds or an egg, or it could be a fruit and milk smoothie. You always have to see that whether I can put some vegetables. So when I bring in a thepla or a paratha or say a vegetable dosa or a vegetable stuffed idli, then I'm looking at introducing some vegetables. When I give the child a whole fruit, say whether the whole fruit or I smoothie it into a milk or a curd, do not try to encourage habits like giving the child a strained fruit juice, because then you will lose out on the fiber advantage. So it is better to introduce good nutrition by virtue of food. A lot of time I have young parents asking me, give my child a vitamin, doctor? Can I give him vitamin C drink? Can I, give him a calcium pill? I would say not needed. One good guava, peru, जो आजकल बहुत मिलता है. If the child has that, that itself gives you a good 200 milligrams of vitamin C, enough for the day. They're getting much more. So let's look at healthy carbohydrates, because I'm sure a lot of parents would be wondering, okay, how much is enough? So I would say, if the child is growing well, and you can give the child, say, even 2 servings of, say, 2 rotis or 2 theplas, or say 2 to 4 idlis or 2 dosas per meal, that's fine. If the child is a small eater, you can actually distribute that into like 1 paratha, then 1 mid-morning could be a bhe or an upma, then lunch could be a roti, rice, or a thepla or a paratha. Evening could be again some idli, some poha, some shira, or some kind of tea. Dinner would again have either khichdi, pulao, roti. So you've got to strategically, strategize and distribute this carbohydrate so that the child does not feel weak and tired. See, a lot of times when you look at a breakfast, I will ask the child, what did you eat? He said, I just had chips. Okay, I just had 1 banana, or I just had 10 almonds. This is nowhere complete nutrition. You must look at combining. If I can give only 3 almonds, 1 fresh fruit, 1 small cup of milk, say 1 chota paratha or 1 idli with a dahi chutney, enough. Look at these small but simple homemade foods to give your child good nutrition. So when we are looking at your fats, I'm talking about not just the fats or oils or ghees or butter which you add to cooking. I would say look at your invisible fats which come in by virtue of your food. So when you're giving the child, til chikki or a mungfali ka, laddu or a rajkira ka laddu, you're giving them dal, you're giving them chole chaat, chana chaat, you're giving them fish, eggs, walnuts. These are all going to give the child a lot of healthy fats. So look at incorporating these invisible healthy fats in your diet. Cut down on your cooking methods where a lot of frying is done, a lot of curries are made. That is not required because we are having limited, timings for physical activity. So you can cut on those fats for cooking. We need to improve. We need to build on protein adequacy, because Indians all over the world are known for their, inadequacy in protein. So protein, the kids need at least 5 servings of protein. So what is 1 serving? 1 serving would be a patla dal, would be adha katuri of thick dal, would be adha katuri of, say, chana, chole, rajma, could be 1 fist-sized piece of chicken or fish. That's enough. But if 1 glass doodh pee liya, the child will get a good 7 to 8 grams of first-class protein with calcium. So look at, cutting on the child's intake of your these so-called energy drinks. Cut those things, those sugary drinks out. Bring in your good, healthy foods. You need to look at proteins as vegetarian sources which are incomplete. So all our dals, all our cereals, all our nuts, including soybean, does have protein. Say 100 grams gives you a good 22 grams of protein, but the protein lacks an essential amino acid. So it's incomplete. So it cannot promote good growth. So how do you get this protein to become complete? You combine, say, a cereal with a pulse, like you have a dal paratha. Say you have an idli with sambar, you have a dosa with dahi chutney, or you can have a roti with hummus. Hummus is chickpeas paste, or you have roti with rajma. You have, say, chana ki dal with chawal. You have a paneer pulao. The combinations here are combining, say, your pulses, your dals or your paneer, your curd, your mutton, chicken with rice, with roti, with paratha, with even if you're having a vegetable, mixed omelette with bread, it is fine. Introduce green chutney as well. So we need to look at what are we choosing, what are we combining, and what do I get in return. So we need to improve on. When we're looking at immunity, apart from building on this protein and carb combinations, I'm always talking about increasing the micronutrient density. How do we do that? We need to include vegetables. This is where a lot of Indian plates are missing on this very important inclusion. Your dark green leafy vegetables, your yellow orange fruits and vegetables, all your carrots, tomatoes, palak ki bhaji, methi ki bhaji, you have cholai, you have got your suwa ki bhaji, you've got your hari pyaz ke patte, you've got gogu, you've got all these different vegetables that are available. Even the leaf covers the cauliflower. The cauliflower is a rich source of vitamin A and iron and fiber. So don't discard it, wash it well. The only importance in today's pandemic times is whatever vegetables you bring it, wash it well in 2 waters, third water, put vinegar, then you dry on a clean cotton cloth, use your old bed sheet. Once it's dry, you can wrap up and keep in your zip pouches. You can use it for 7 days. I have heard so many patients say, because of the fear of the infection, I'm not buying vegetables. Now that is ridiculous. Without the vegetables, you're not going to be building up on your vitamin A and iron and fiber needs. So we need to build on vitamin A by including all these things. People who are non-vegetarians can have enough of chicken liver, say, your fish liver, your mutton liver. They can introduce a lot of these fruits. Guava, papayas are in season, and mangoes are still there. You can use all possible orange, yellow color fruits, all possible leaves to bring in this much wanted beta carotene, which is the coloring pigment converts to vitamin A in the body. Vitamin A boosts immunity. Vitamin A helps growth, helps good vision, and we need it all, whether you are young, old, elderly. Vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin. If you are able to see, apart from food, we don't get much vitamin D. So we can look at sun exposure. So between 10 and 3, expose your arms, your legs, in your face to the sun. Go out in the sun. Now I would say you will reprimand me. Okay, we're not supposed to go out. I'm sure if you can go into your balcony or into your play areas, in your shorts and t-shirts for the children, let them play. Teach them the importance of, say, using a cotton mask or social distancing, and enjoy that play. So that 20 minutes of skipping or cycling, or playing some game would give them vitamin D and that kind of much required physical activity. We must look at including milk, cheese, say fish, all the fortified milk, all the fortified cereals do have vitamin D. We can look at till black and white. I know that we only think of pink when Jan comes or when you have that festival coming, but I would say till can be a 12 months of the year in season. We should use a lot of this dark brown maroon rajma. We can look at urad dal, pole. We can incorporate that into the sprouts, into the dosa making procedures. We need to worry about vitamin E. Vitamin E can come from all your nuts. We need to incorporate just half a teaspoon of garden cress seeds. We can just have 5 almonds for the child. We can just look at, say, a saucer-sized plate of papaya. We can look at peaches. We can look at flax seeds. Now, see, kids don't like to eat flax seeds, trust me. But you can actually, just make a powder and add it to their dal or to their raita. Your laddus can come from a mix of your garden cress seeds, which is your adib or halim in Hindi. Pistas, we all know, badam, we know, sunflower seeds, your pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, all these seeds can be mixed together with gur, with rajma, with, say, rice, in laddus, the chickpeas. We can look at, incorporating B12, but B12 here, there aren't much sources in vegetarian foods. So we can look at mushrooms, we can look at cabbages, but a lot of non-veg foods have vitamin B12. So if you feel that you are weaker on B12, you can look at your physician giving you a supplement, but please don't take without supervision. Folate is another important B complex vitamin which is required for blood formation. As I discussed, that we Indians are very much at risk of anemia, maybe because of the diets we eat are just, carb and fat emphasized. We just have a lot of, say, sheera, say just rice, just say roti, a lot of potatoes, a lot of sweets. So we need to incorporate these rich sources of folic acid, which is all your dals, with the skin, soak them, sprout them, all your nuts and seeds. And vegetables like your colocasia, which is your pata, bhajia ka patta. You can have your karela, the cabbage, the guava, the papaya. These can, then, this, I would fail if I don't mention about kalonji, nigella. Kalonji is very important. Even, say, 1/4 teaspoon. You can just stuff it into a date and give it to your child, or you can just powder and add it to their smoothies. It will go a long way in building their immunity as well. Vitamin C, a vitamin so easily available, but so much of prominence it got in this pandemic times because of a lot of people with their interest in selling the vitamin just spoke about vitamin C. Vitamin C, I would say we can easily get 100 milligrams of vitamin C by just incorporating not just, say, guava or, say, pineapple or, say, tomatoes or, say, mangoes in our diet. We can just have the cabbage, we can have the coriander chutney, we can have the capsicum ka sabzi. Amla is available almost 6 to 7 months of the year. So bring it home, make it into a murabba, make it into a pickle, make it into a chutney, make it like a squash. It stays very well. Even the amla candy or amla, dried with a little bit of salt, as a mouth freshener, it maintains a lot of vitamin C. So bring it home. Iron is something which our country has abundantly, but we don't know how to pick and choose our foods rich in iron. I would once again emphasize on using your bajra as a roti rotla form, or bring it, blend it into your dosa batter. You can make your ragi roti, ragi dosa. You can have rajgara ka laddu. Poha can be used a lot more. All our laddus I was discussing about, your nuts, all your sprouts, especially masoor and matki, rajma, urad dal are also very rich in iron. We need to look at all the leafy vegetables, including even curry leaves, I would say, are rich sources of iron. So if you can just blend it, because normally a lot of us tend to pick and remove and keep these seeds away, the leaves away. So if you can blenderize them into a chutney or fine cut and put into your seasoning, into your grape juice. The anda, don't throw away the yolk. I must mention this because I often hear this, because I don't eat eggs, told by some quack nutritionist to this person, because if you eat yolks you become fat. So everybody in the family starts removing the yolks. I would say eat the egg whole. The egg whole with its yolk, inherent yolk, has a lot of first class complete protein. There's a lot of vitamin A, and it supports growth and helps even in making good red blood cells. Zinc, another micronutrient, it's a mineral which is abundantly available and very important to help boost our immunity. We can look at your rajgara as laddu, we can look at methi ki bhaji, we can look at your bajra and nachni as roti and dosas, look at all the nuts, look at all the seeds, look at soya bean. Magnesium, again another mineral important, which can also be easily got from, say, poppy seeds, sunflower seeds, soya bean, leafy vegetables. Yes, walnuts, pistas, bananas are easy available around the year. We can use that to improve on magnesium intake. Magnesium is important for memory, for good sleep, for good muscle strength. Selenium, again, a very important micronutrient, easily available from people who are non-vegetarians. There are abundance in all their organs and all the chicken, fish. But for the vegetarians, we can look at bajra, we can look at green moong, we can look at ragi, we can look at mustard seeds. So I would say, having learned about what is good and how much and how we can bring about using it, very importantly, I often hear that when I do school talks and I do college talks, I'm told that our children are often strapped of time, so they were not being able to eat good breakfast or feel like vomiting. See, now's the time, we are in lockdown phase, our kids are studying from home. So what teachers can re-emphasize when they have talks with their parents or children from tomorrow onwards is talk about, did you have a good breakfast? Spend some time on discussing what did they choose to eat for breakfast. We need to look at combining all of our unprocessed cereals and millets, milk and paneer and cheese and eggs and vegetables. So very easy examples are making a sandwich. You need not have brown bread. You can take any bread, put a green chutney, don't make it tikka. You can put some vegetables, grate it, you can put your eggs, you can put paneer, you can put sprouts. You can look at idli with green chutney and sambar if possible. You can look at egg chapati omelette roll. You can look at a smoothie. In the smoothie, you can easily put the seeds ka powder, you can put the fruit, you can put milk. See, people often ask me, shall I give my child a protein supplement or a protein powder? I would say not required. Just look at this easy combination. See, an omelette with tomatoes, a date, some 5 almonds, a slice or 2 of bread. You can look at your ragi porridge, you can look at poha with sprouts and nuts, you can look at your thepla, you can have this paneer or cheese with vegetables wrapped into a roti. So there are easy, healthy breakfast options. We can look at healthy snacking. We can look at a lot of chivdas, chapati pizzas, chana chaats, date laddus, smoothies. That was all about food. So the second important component which I want to emphasize here is that then we were able to move out. So we were active. We were forced to walk, say, to the bus stop, or to our offices, or the 2-hour cars or to hunt for an auto or a whatever. But now we're all homebound. And it has been seen in a lot of studies that when we are homebound, when we are, say, metabolically so much at ease, so much at, passive modes, we're sitting, we are lying down, we are using our screens for, say, work, for, say, play. So we have increased the screen time to more than 8 hours, 6 hours. It's including children and adults. So they are saying that having 3 to 4 hours of TV viewing, regardless of whether you are homebound or whether you are office bound, this by itself is the biggest risk marker to cardiac diseases. So what we need to do is that we need to find out ways how we can incorporate exercise. We need to look at improving exercise into our daily ritual so that we have lesser anxiety, because it has been seen that people who exercise, people who are able to do some kind of activity in 5 minutes, half an hour, are lesser anxious. Children are able to learn better, their cognition is better, because when they were into active sports, they were with groups of people. They were looking at psychosomatic attachments. They were looking at, okay, let's discuss how we plan this goal or how we'll plan this game. They were meeting up. So now there is none of those participation. So we need to find out how we can bring about these interactions whereby we can overcome the impact of being homebound. Right? So we need to look at how we can look at some kind of run, some kind of skipping, some kind of weights using the ball, because it will have an impact on retarding the impairment on our cardiovascular functions. For the children, I would say, this looks familiar, right? My child sitting with the TV, sitting with his laptop, or just playing game on the PlayStation. If after that 3 or 5 hour study time, if parents can look at involving the child in some kind of yoga, some kind of martial arts, some kind of indoor, ball games, or whether younger choice children can be involved in, say, putting up building blocks or whatever. So we need to look at how we can get them to be more active. Say stairs can be used as a very important form of exercise. We need to build in at least half an hour some workout for improving flexibility and strength, say aerobic activities, and every day, how we can just make them active. So we can look at the basketball, because in our own building we let our kids play for an hour or two along with their masks and social distancing. Swimming and all these things are difficult unless you have a very good pool or whatever. But the jumping rope, the in-house games can be introduced. Yoga can be used. You can look at somebody who can help us, online for some kind of workout videos. This kind of projection has come from an international study which talks about, the younger children require 3 hours of playtime. 3 hours, 180 minutes per day. And today, children in the 4 5 years are made to sit with mobiles because they're being taught online. So I would rather request, recommend, tell the teachers, educators, and parents to look at some ways how they can bring in some kind of play approach, some kind of activity where this 3 hours of physical activity becomes mandatory in the ritual. For the kids who are above 8 to 14, they also require more than 1 hour of moderate to vigorous physical activity. We need to give them playing with groups at least thrice in a week. We need to work out some ways. So for adults and for children, some activity if we can introduce, you have to just practice, you have to find out from your own lifestyle, your day's lifestyle, how you spend the day. How much time do I use a screen? Look at it. You can use your smartphone to identify your screen time, your number of steps taken. There are apps whereby you can record your kilometers you covered. There is something to that because I have to be conscious. So from the month of April to now, she has consciously increased her whole day, whole day kilometers covered to 12 hours, which is beautiful. So you can just use those Fitbit or those smartwatches to track your own time involved in physical activity. We need to, apart from using these aerobic workouts, we need to introduce some kind of muscle strengthening, core strengthening workouts. Therein we can use those lightweight weights or bottles filled with water for the weights. We can practice pranayams for all of us, children, adults, elderly. We need to build on our lung capacities. I would advise you that you can bring home balloons, where all of us can spend 5 minutes blowing a big balloon. We need to practice pranayama, where we have this anulom vinam, or you have bhastrika, you have those ujjaini. All these exercises where we are consciously putting our focus on, like taking a deep breath, holding the breath, and then slowly exhaling it. So if you can even help yourself see, am I breathing? Am I able to understand where did my oxygen fill air? Where did it go? Can I hold that breath? Can I count 10, 15, 20? Can I slowly relax? So regularizing these small inputs of building on your lung capacity, building on, say, your endurance, your stamina, say, on the spot jog, on the spot march, using even the chair, even using your bed, your bed stand. You can just raise your legs and hold that for a half a time. So we need to find out how we can improve. Now, over the last, say, 4-5 months, when all of us been home, and the children, see, adults are always used to computers and excess screen time. But for the children, we have taken away their freedom of play, their freedom of expression. See, when they are unattended, when they are not watched about by adults, when they are playing, there is a different kind of catharsis. They are happy with themselves. That's a therapy for them. Play, being with friends, exchanging notes with friends. Now we put them, hold up in their houses. We made them, okay, stay within this house. Oh, okay, you can just play for so much time. So it has definitely impacted their hearing, their eyes, their growth. Check their postures, look at their oral hygiene. If you have a family dietitian, a school dietitian, meet up with her, have talks, find out what my child has eaten, where is his adversity risk. Having covered good nutrition, having covered activity patterns and recommendations, I would like to talk about some herbs which our Indian traditions have always been using, and which Ayurveda recommends, is the use of pepper, use of garlic, cinnamon, tulsi leaves, mint leaves, ginger. Now, I would say some parents have become overzealous. I find them giving them strong kadas, which has led to increase in skin eruption and acne. I would say the child would just need a pinch of pepper, one garlic, which would come as a part of a, say, soup or chutney or in some paratha. You cannot give the child, half teaspoon of cinnamon in his milk. It will become too heaty. The child just needs a pinch or 1/8 of a teaspoon. See, ginger, garlic can be easily incorporated because we Indians have so many preparations. We have our chutneys, our, say, raitas, our sabzis, where we are bound to use garlic and ginger. I would say use these herbs and spices, but watchful about the amounts. Don't give them too many strong concentrate kadas, because the children are having skin issues or they're having hyperacidity. Having discussed, say, food, water, exercise, I would say in the last 4 or 5 months, we need to sit together as a family and find out how are we doing emotionally. Are we able to control our emotions positively? What's the level of stress? Are we ending up with arguments and fights? Look at your child's anxiety status. कितना वो आपसे बात करता है, कितना आपसे share करता है. Look at his decision making. Involve the child when you are, say, planning some activity, when you are buying some food, when you are deciding about कल क्या बनेगा, कल क्या खाना है. Okay, can we improvise on what we are eating? Can we introduce this change? Involve the child. Involve the child, I would say, even in cooking, because children are receptive. Children are very alert, and children like it when their mother or father involved. And like, I remember when my kids were small, I still make those ragi cakes though, and I would make those date and carrot cupcakes, and the child would be so happy helping me mix it or grate it and watch while it being baked. So, and they would feel so proudly their mother made it for them. So when they took it there to their schools, they would always get the compliments, your mom makes the best pasta, it's so colorful because I had so many vegetables, or the cake is so good. They never knew that the chocolate cake was full of ragi. So you can have those different ideas. So look at also, decision making, the adverse quotient, the spiritual quotient. Are we involving the child in some kind of family prayers? Like when you're having your aarti or your namaz, it's a good idea to have all the elders, the kids, doing their namaz or their aarti or their jap, their meditation together. It will involve, feeling of oneness, feeling of family coming together. So we need to work on all these quotients, because intelligence is a holistic approach, and we need to not just look at learning by rote. तुझे कितना याद है, तो कितना लिख पाएगा? No, we need to understand what is the child's understanding of what is being taught, and whether the child can use it in practical life. Now, when we are procuring foods, I felt it important to introduce you people understanding what is the label telling you when you're buying up foods. You should look at nutrition facts, whether that particular package talks about giving you good amounts of, say, protein or say vitamins, minerals. What is the amount of trans fatty acids, saturated fats, the salt, because the trans fatty acids, the saturated fats, the excess salt, the excess sugars, your high high fructose corn syrups, if these are there, you have a lot of preservatives, then you should reduce buying such foods, because then you are increasing your adversity index. Too much of chemicals given regularly to the child, you are not letting the child grow up healthy. You look at, when you're bringing home milk, you look at the fortified milks. You look at the enriched fortified dals and rice. Now you have our government promoting, iron enriched dals, you have vitamin A and D fortified milks and paneer and cheese. So we need to look at how we make our children, the incoming generation, yes, the incoming, the future of India and the world, how we can get them to have healthier lifestyles by appropriate food, good water intake. The water intake, I would say again, make sure that the child has at least 1 to 1.5 liters of water per day. Check on his urine output. Look at the color of the urine, if it is smelling, or the child has difficulty in burning by passing urine, or say his stools, then we have to check that the water is the child is not having enough water, enough roughage, or enough fat in his diet. You need to build on the child's healthy body composition. Don't look at मेरा बच्चा कितना मोटा है या कितना पतला है. Not all fat kids are unhealthy, and not all thin kids are healthy. We need to look at whether the child is not having any infections, or there are lesser events of infection or sickness in the child's growing years. A child who reports never sick, or has very few episodes of illnesses, or if he or she does fall sick, he or she is able to recover faster. That is good immunity. That is immunocompetence. We need to build on child's positivity, immunocompetence, good height gain, good ideal weight gain. The skin should be shining, there should be sparkle in the eyes. That can also happen not just food and water, but the sleep hours. We need to worry about sleep. Our children today are lacking on sleep. We need to give them at least 8 hours of undisturbed deep sleep. So how will that happen? Only if we stop the use of computers, mobiles, say 2 to 3 hours before sleep time. You should say after 8 or after 9, no more TV. You can shut off your Wi-Fi, and you will see how deep, how better you will all sleep. The reason being, when I'm told by some families that we can have our breakfast, we can wake up late, we can join late to school, I would say don't disturb your circadian rhythm. Sleep by 10, because between 10 and 12, your body repairs its wear and tear. The liver, the heart, the brain, they all will repair, and they will be refreshed for tomorrow morning. So you need to prepare your child for a better day tomorrow morning. So when you have better food, good lifestyle, good sleep cycles, reducing the intake of processed foods, no stress, having yoga and some play methods, exercises, walks, friendly communication, you are surely going to have a child who will be much more healthier. We need to worry about our children's diet so that we support optimal growth. We don't look at just weight gain, look at height with good muscle power. Emphasize on fruits, vegetables, whole grains, low fat dairy, good mutton, chicken products. Reduce the intake of your fermentable carbohydrates for dental hygiene sake. Adhere to good food guidelines. Worry about protein adequacy. Reduce or decrease the intake of sugars and fats. Increase fiber and micronutrients. In short, make your density of your diets nutrition rich. Thank you so much for your patient sharing. I hope I have made your nutrition aware and made you all understand the importance of easy methods to make your diets much richer, much holistic, growth promoting, health promoting immunocompetent.